Great. Thanks, Paul. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Looking back, players of the week from last week offensively, Austin Carr had career high in 7 receptions, had a great corner out touchdown catch, and then Macon Wilson with the explosion catch and run. I thought both guys played probably two of their better games. Defensively, C.J. Robbins getting his first start at defensive end. Was very active, had a sack, and played fairly well for being out there for the first time. And then Xavier Washington, it was our big playmaker. It was very active in the backfield. Special teams-wise was Austin Anderson, just coming back from injury, and had a special teams tackle and a big hit to spring our 30-yard return. Nick Urban was our offensive practice player. Patty Fisher defense, and specialist was Josh Roberts, giving really good effort. Hunter Nicewander had another pretty good day. I had one punt that he'd probably like to have back, but averaged 47. He's averaging 47 yards right now. Foddy getting a sack. Almost got a strip on that one. So some positives there. Thought defensive line played much better than they did the first week, and it showed in our ability, I think, to be pretty good against the run and impact the quarterback a little bit. Looking forward to Saturday night from a standpoint of our honorary captain are Dan and Susan Jones. The Jones family has been incredibly generous to our football program, to the university. I mean, Dan's a two-time alum. He's the founder and president of Newsbank. Just an unbelievably generous family. Susan's a Weinberg alum and great friends. I always get a chance to spend some time with them down in Naples in the spring, and the NU Club of Southwest Florida. Great group that I get to spend with. So looking forward to having them be our honorary captains. And there's always something special to be playing at night. Takes you back to being in high school, and hopefully the guys will show up and play with some energy and some passion. It's always fun to play night games. Impressed by Coach Cutcliffe's team. David and I are very good friends, know each other for a long time. Had a tough one on Saturday, but Wake played very, very well. They were right there towards the end and had a turnover late, that sealed the victory. But they were, last year was a dogfight down there. It was a defensive battle, to say the least. They're outstanding in the kicking game, and very impressed when you watch them on tape in the first two games. Just ended up on the short end. So a lot of work for us to do this week. Excited to have our students back first week. Here having them back in Wildcat Welcome Week, so it'll be fun. It'll be a lot for the freshmen on their plate, our players, but we'll move our schedule up to make sure we get all the work in that we need. So with that, how about some questions, please?
Hey, Fitz, for starters, how's Justin Jackson?
It's funny, when we were doing walkthrough today, I asked him, I said, the first question I'm going to get is about Justin Jackson. And he smiled and laughed. And I said, are you going to play? He said, yeah, I'm going to play. So.
I know after last week's loss, you had used Stanford as an example.
Yeah.
They lost, and then, they went on to have a great season. What do you tell the guys now after 2 losses? How do you keep them mentally?
Well, yeah, Megan, that's a good question. All you have to do is watch the tape. I think defensively we made a lot of improvement. I think we're playing pretty consistent in the kicking game. Obviously, we can't miss that field goal. That ends up being, obviously, the points that cost us the game. But the rest of the phases, I think, have been pretty solid. And then offensively, I thought we made some positive strides in the first game. We're moving things well, and then we took a step backwards on Saturday, and it starts up front. Our offensive line play was as inconsistent as I've seen. And we're going to influx competition. We're just not going to stand pat. We did that a week ago. The D-line was not good enough, and we made some changes, and I think we saw the return on those changes. And most importantly, it was just the attitude and the way that our defensive line approached last week, and I thought they performed much better. They're going to have their hands full with Duke this week, but we've got to see, obviously, a drastic improvement up front for us to be able to run the ball more consistently. Our third down efficiency was what it was on Saturday because 12 of our 18 third down situations were third and long. I don't care who you are. That's tough, and most of those were on us. Tackles for loss because of poor blocking at the point of attack, holding calls that set us behind schedule. And so, disappointed to see that. And then we crossed the 50 for 30 of our about 70 couple plays. We're across the 50. And I stopped counting. We had 16 or 17 self-inflicted wounds across the 50. And that type of inconsistency offensively, again, that's holding calls. It's mental mistakes. It's drops. It's not putting the ball in the right spot as a quarterback. There were 2 calls that I didn't like play-wise because we didn't execute either one of those, even though we executed it all week in practice. We go out in the game on Saturday. We don't execute 2 throws. So, you get to half your plays across the 50 inconsistent. It's really hard to get a rhythm. It's really hard to score touchdowns that way. So we've got to get that fixed, and we got to get it fixed in a hurry. And so that's what you do. You look at those things, you coach the heck out of them, and then you influx competition. So Obviously disappointed, bitterly disappointed in the two outcomes, but you just roll your sleeves up and keep grinding.
Coach, Matthew Harris, another key player, left with an injury on Saturday. Do you have any update on him?
Yeah, he'll be out for this week.
Pat, the last drive, each of the two games where you've needed to get them off the field and you haven't been able to do it, any common denominator between those two?
They completed a third down play on both. 2 weeks ago, we had a MA, and on Saturday, their kid made a nice catch on a 3rd and 4 play. We had pretty good coverage. The receiver threw our DB by, which was nice technique by him, and they probably would have gone for it anyways on 4th down. And then, we call a pressure on the run play, and we fit the gaps incorrectly. So that was disappointing because I thought we were trying to be aggressive there, which I like the call. We just didn't execute, which is disappointing. So a lot of work to do from that standpoint. But you just got to make some plays. We got to make some plays to get off the field. So, that's why I didn't take the timeouts. Their kicker missed an extra point, missed a field goal. I figured, with the wind the way that was blowing, and I guess I was a football off. So it's my fault.
Coach, with the injury to Matt Harris, the secondary looks to be pretty shallow and young. Do you envision any players stepping up next week to sort of fill the role that Harris will leave behind?
Yeah, absolutely. We had Montre, I think step up for Keith pretty well. Trey went in last week, and I thought competed pretty well. Rod and Brian are two guys that we think are pretty talented. So yeah, I expect guys to step up. You can't control the opportunities when they happen. You just control the way you prepare and what you do.
Fitz, you mentioned how last year's game against Duke went. Given the changes on both teams, do you see it going similarly or differently this year?
I'm really excited about tomorrow's practice. Where we're at right now, I think predicting and projecting is a waste of my time because obviously I couldn't have predicted that our O-line would have played the way that they did on Saturday. So if I would have played some of the twos the whole day. So tomorrow's a really important practice for this year's team. The attitude which they demonstrate and the way that we go out and execute fundamentally. I mean, that was the biggest thing. I mean, you look at some things that we drill and we work, and then we get out in the moment and it doesn't happen. You just sit there and you scratch your head as a coach. So you look at the guys and you ask them why, and then you go out and you just keep grinding at it and flux competition. So that's where we're at.
We're not pleased with the performance of the D-line a week ago. You made tweaks, modifications, opened up the depth chart. Will you do a similar move offensively on that offensive line?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. That'll play out throughout the course of the week.
Ben Skoranek seemed more involved in the passing game this week, and as a true freshman, do you see his role growing as the season goes on?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think his role is increased because he's practiced well, and he's 2 weeks into his career, and I think Clayton targeting him a few times shows that he's got some trust built up with Clayton. So, he's a big, long guy. He's learning through every rep. We got him out there in some situations in the kicking game too. So it's been fun to watch him progress, but a long way to go this year for him, and a long way to go in his career. But a couple games in, I love his compete, I love his fight, and so far so good for him.
Fitz, 2 years ago when your team was 0-2, you polled your leaders and asked them what they should do, and Colin told you that you should just kick our asses. Mm-hmm. When you talked to your leaders this week, did you get any kind of similar message?
A little bit different. The guys, the way they expressed it to me was that it was on them. They've got to hold themselves and each other accountable. They're really disappointed in their performances. Especially the guys on offense. And they got to go out and do it. And so that's kind of what their mindset was, and I think it's pretty appropriate. Oh, I don't know. You want to do some with me? Well, I don't know. I hope they practice well enough. I mean, that's a byproduct of negative practice, And last week we had some guys not practice very well, and it showed in their play. So I expect them to practice better so that they can play better.
Fitz, are your skill guys good enough now? I think back to teams before, Ebert and Drake and Venerick. Do you have guys like that other teams worry about?
I think Justin Jackson's as good of a running back as we've had in a while. Outside of a couple of the drops that we had on Saturday, I thought we had made progress through camp and through week one at the wide receiver position. We're a little green out there. There's no question about it. I mean, you look at the youth. It's a young group, but that's not an excuse. They've just got to go out and execute. And I think Austin had a career high in receptions, targeted some shots down the field, missed a few. Throwing the ball a little bit more vertically here in the first 2 weeks. I think we've got to continue to do that to try to loosen the box up and be able to run the ball. But when you throw some no hitters at the point of attack, when run plays should be there, and now you're setting yourself up at 2nd and 10, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and 10. It's not a fun place to be calling plays. It's not a fun place to be playing quarterback in. 3rd and long is not too many people execute that very well at any level. So we've got to be in third manageables. We've got to be more efficient on 3rd down. And we've obviously got to be able to run the ball better than we did on Saturday for us to be successful and have balance on offense.
Alviti got a look. Was that giving Clayton a break, or what was the thought there?
Yeah, Clayton had a contact issue. So, Matt, I think he got some grass or something, or dirt in his contact lens. So Matt went out and did his job.
What do you think of the defense? I mean, the defense hasn't allowed that many points, but pretty bad numbers in terms of yards per play, considering the competition. Where do you see that unit as a whole now?
Well, I think from a standpoint of giving us an opportunity to win, I think Saturday they were much better. Holding a team, we'll say the extra point should have gone in. So holding a team to 10 points, you should win all those games. When you hold a team under 2 touchdowns is my mindset. There were some things that they did schematically that we had to adjust to, and I think the kids did a really good job of that Saturday. We were a little bit too loose in some coverage concepts and let hitches and some things go from what should be 3 or 4 yard gains to maybe 8 and 9, so that some nickels turned into dimes, and so we've got to tighten that up with understanding what comes off of that. I didn't think we tackled very well on Saturday. I thought and that's what Hank did a really good job of this morning, was showing the same guys a year ago being really aggressive and cutting things loose and making, I think, really good open field tackles, where this year, in particular, our first 2 games, kind of sitting back a little bit, which, the question is why? Why? And when the guy looks at it and he says, I don't have an answer, then you just got to keep going and drilling it. So that's what we'll continue to do.
Couple holding penalties on Saturday that really hurt the offensive line and hurt the offense's momentum. Do you think that was more of a mental mistake or something that they didn't practice for leading up to the game, or that the officials called it differently? Or
No, I think we didn't move our feet. I mean, there's kind of a coaching 101 is feet before hands. And when you show your hands and you don't move your feet and the guy gets outside of your framework, you're going to get called for holding. I think they were all good calls. I don't think our tackles moved their feet very well. And I don't have an answer for you on that, because we drill the heck out of outside moves and we drill the heck out of outside move, come under. So it's nothing that we haven't practiced and nothing we haven't seen. I just don't think the guys went out and did it fundamentally very well. So if I would have had more depth, I probably would have made more changes in game. But that just is what it is right now.
In the running, because the overall body of work is 28 points in 2 games.
Yep.
Is it now? What has to come first, though? The getting the ball downfield and hitting some of those home runs.
Sure.
Or do you have to just do a better job up front from the get-go, from the very first snap?
Yeah, well, I think just consistency overall. I think that's the biggest thing. The lack thereof it right now is putting us behind the chains, putting us in 3rd and long situations in last game in particular. And then when you look at our run efficiency, Justin, I thought, was pretty darn run efficient in the opener. We didn't make enough big plays in the opener to have things happen. Last week we're across the 50 a bunch, and we just beat ourselves rep after rep after rep after rep, and you're setting yourself back. Again, you get across the 50, and now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 12, it's 3rd and 8, it's 3rd and 9, And right now, we just not making enough of those plays to be able to overcome that. And so just that consistency, getting the guys to be consistent fundamentally, get them to be consistently executing. And then I think once you can get to that, then you can have some balance. And, from a standpoint of Justin's ability to run the ball and our backs, I thought we didn't have a whole lot to work with on Saturday. And then we were pretty darn one-dimensional, having to throw the ball, and throwing the ball less than 50% is going to win you a whole lot of football games when that happens. And it's part on Clayton, it's part on getting hit, it's part on getting drops. So there's plenty of thumbs to be pointed. It's not one thing. I wish it was. If it was, we'd just go practice that today and we'd be good to go. So we just got to get much more consistent.
Along the lines of plenty of things, I think there's an opinion out there, maybe you think it's crap, but that your offense hasn't innovated, and it's the same thing year after year after year, and now you guys have become a team that's easy to prepare for. Do you think that's bull, and that these players are going to work with a better offensive line, or what do you think of that?
Well, I think you have to have an identity, and I think you have to go out and get the guys to execute it cleanly. If you'd like me to tell you what Iowa's going to do, I can tell you exactly what they're going to do. I mean, most teams that are pretty good have an identity. You're able to stick to your identity and then build complements off of it. When you're inconsistent with kind of your bread and butter plays, we can go do a bunch of things. I mean, I think it may have been 10 years ago you told me I should run more trick plays, right? We were having those conversations. They never work. So then I shouldn't run them, and that's par for right. I mean, that's it's par for the course when you're not executing. It's you look at defense and you say, well, you should blitz more, or you should play more zone. When it doesn't work, it's easy to say you should do this, you should do that. But we're an inside zone, outside zone team. We try to throw play action passes off of it, make you defend horizontally and vertically. I think we've got some vertical threats this year. We quite frankly didn't feel like we've had some in the past. And when we've had a max protect. And this year we've taken more shots than we ever have. And for us to be able to shorten the field, we've got to complete some of those balls. I mean, we're early in the game. We got solo behind the defense, and we missed the throw. There's a couple other ones that you've got some things open, and we're just not getting them thrown and completed. So you just got to keep grinding on it. Whoever's opinion that is, I respect it. But I don't think it matters what you run. If you don't run it efficiently, you're not going to be very good. And I think if you do run it efficiently, you're able to build pretty good complements off it and go from there. I mean, just about everybody we play, Teddy, is pretty predictable in what they do. Western Michigan ran what we thought they were going to run. Illinois State was a little bit different, but I think the guys adjusted pretty well defensively. I mean, if I go through Big Ten play, I've got a pretty good idea of what we're going to get from everybody. I don't know if that's the case. I think the really, really good teams have an identity, and I think they are able to execute that really well. And that's obviously not where we're at right now. So that's obviously got to be fixed.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Have a great week. Go Cats.
As predicted, Justin, you were the first question to Fitz, and you're going to be the first question here. What did you go out with, and how you feeling, and how's it looking for Saturday?
I'll be doing everything I can to play on Saturday. They got me. Need to know basics. I just felt at the time there were other players that could go in there and do a better job than I could. So, split between myself and the coaches and the training staff. So.
I know after last week's loss, you guys were relying on the coach talked about Stanford and how they had lost the first game, went on for a great season, but now you have 2 losses. So what's the message to this week? What's the approach this week? How do you guys remain positive moving forward now that you're in a little bit of a hole?
This week we have an opportunity to beat Duke, and that's what we're going to focus on right now. Yeah, simple as that.
No, I don't think so. I actually didn't know that. No, I didn't think there was any extra pressure. I mean, just kind of flow of the game. But nice to complete a little more of those. Give us a chance, but no, didn't feel any pressure.
Clayton, excuse me, Clayton, you guys were working the whole offseason on getting that passing game more to where you wanted it. Through 2 games, how do you guys think you're progressing?
Yeah, I think we're improving. I think the receivers are doing a great job. Obviously, a few drops here and there. I got to put the ball on a few guys here and there. But I think we just got to continue to get more consistent, especially down the stretch. There's a few key possessions there where I didn't play like I felt like I could have. I think those last 2 possessions, I got to make a throw here, throw there, and maybe Illinois State doesn't get the ball. So I think that's on me. But we just got to continue to get more consistent, and we're getting better.
Justin, you only had 11 carries for 39 yards. Offensive line had 4 holding penalties on Saturday. From your perspective, what wasn't working?
I think collectively we just have to do a better job of executing. At the O-line position, at the running back position, quarterback, receivers, everyone, the entire offense, we didn't go out there and do our jobs well enough to win. I think that was pretty apparent, pretty obvious. So just got to go back to work. That's all we can do. Fix what happened on Saturday as far as technique and stuff like that, and then get ready to play on Saturday.
What's your guys' style of leadership in terms of, say, the offensive line? I mean, it's not your position group, but Fitz says they need to play a lot better. Are you guys comfortable telling those guys they got to be better, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, I think we talked about it today. I think Justin really hit on it. It's not just about protecting your own position group, saying, we're good, we're doing a good job, whether it's Justin with the running backs, me with the quarterbacks, AC and Scan with the receivers. It's about our whole team collective effort, we got to believe in each other, and we do, and we got to hold each other accountable. That's the most important thing. And, whether you're a freshman, whether you're a 6-year senior, we all got to hold each other accountable, and that goes across position groups, across both sides of the ball, and that's something we got to continue to improve on.
Yeah, I mean, like Clayton was saying, it's not really about just taking care of your own room, because we all work together as an offense. And if I'm not doing my job, I'm hindering, the jobs of everyone else. So it's kind of just you got to hold people accountable. And if you see someone not doing what they're supposed to be doing effort-wise, especially, you got to really get on them. And that's what will happen this week.
If you guys can take me back to last year, the Duke game, what do you recall from the game, and what did that victory do for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good victory for us. Their defense is very fast, very physical. It was a really grinded-out game. And you're just going to have to keep hitting it, and hopefully eventually it'll break because they have that type of defense. But, yeah, I mean, we're looking to go in there, and we know we're going to be facing a really good opponent, and it's going to take us executing a lot better than we did last week to win. So we'll be working, game planning, making sure we're prepared to go out there and play the best game we've played so far on Saturday.
Clayton, was that one where you said, okay, I was not at my best, but
Yeah.
these guys were really good around me, or how did you look at that game?
Yeah, it definitely was my best game last year. But, that's why we're a team effort. Our defense played awesome. Special teams was awesome. And we still won the game, by 9 or 10 points. But got to put all three phases together this Saturday. And, that's the only thing we can control.
What did they do defensively? What did they do particularly well?
Like Justin said, they're fast. They're good, and pretty solid all the way around. Defensive backs are really good. A lot of experience back there. They're well coached. Coach Cutcliffe does a really good job. They're gonna come ready to play, and they felt like they should have won last year, and they're gonna come ready to play, and we got to be ready to play as well.
Both of you, after the start, what are you guys doing to stay positive?
I think it starts with kind of shutting out the noise coming from outside. Honestly, there's a lot of negative things that are always being said when you lose. A lot of negative things being said when one side of the ball doesn't do well, or one player doesn't do well, and so it kind of starts with just trusting in each other and believing in each other, and we do. And I think, there's a sense of urgency. Of course, there's a sense of urgency every week, though, and so it's nothing. Nothing new. This has happened to our program in the past, and we just got to respond from it. And this will be a good week of practice for us. It'll be a lot of fun coming together and just going after it. So, looking forward to it.
Both of you guys, did you learn anything 2 years ago when you were 0-2 that you can draw on now?
Yeah, obviously, first 2 games didn't go the way we wanted, and then we ended up winning the next 3 games against some pretty good teams. So, we know it's possible. It's really about focusing on this game. You can't control what happened last week or the week after this upcoming game. So it's really about focusing. Season's really just 12 different opportunities to go 1-0, and that's really what we have to do this week. We just got to come in with a focus to hone in and just prepare ourselves to go into a battle on Saturday. That's what it's going to be. And we need to come out on top this time.
Any further questions for Justin or Clayton? All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll have CJ Robbins and Godwin Leeds with you here shortly. Hopefully they're right outside the door. On your left, you have CJ Robbins.
I'm deflecting
everything to you.
Godwin, were you surprised at all that Illinois State threw the ball as much as it did and was effective up until it threw a couple of key interceptions? Did you just game plan to think that they were going to run more, or what did you think about the balance?
I wouldn't say I was surprised. Obviously, we got to be prepared for everything. And I thought, obviously they made some plays, throwing that many times. they are going to make some plays, but I felt, the DBs did a great job. Got 2 takeaways, which I thought was huge. Won the turnover battle. Did a great job on 3rd down, thanks to the guys up front as well. So, I think we handled it pretty well. We got to prepare for everything.
I just want to take you guys back to the Duke game last year. What did you think going in? How important was it to get that victory? And obviously the defense stepped up.
Going in, you approach every game the same. It's obviously always important to get a victory, so you go in with that mentality. Obviously, last year, a little bit of a different situation, but it was a big game, our biggest non-conference game outside of Stanford. Same as this year, one of our big non-conference games. Both years we're attacking it the same way. You have to win, especially more so now. But again, you attack every game the same. You don't look at any game differently. Winning is the most important.
Godwin was at Anthony's coming out party, but what do you? Or actually, he done well at Penn State. But what do you remember from the defense in that Duke game?
We played like our hair was on fire. It was really cool to see, really cool to watch. That's definitely one of the games that kind of personified our defense. And a lot of those same guys are back. I just feel like we can continue to do the same things. This is a big game for us, like CJ was saying. Just playing, relentless. We were playing all out, and I know we're capable of that. And I know, we've shown that more and more as we progressed. And I think it's a huge game for us to prove ourselves.
Godwin, with Matthew out, you're kind of the older guy back there now, and you got a lot of young guys playing around you in the secondary. Do you have to kind of take more of a leadership role and help them out, especially as the veteran?
Well, of course, we do have a lot of young guys, very talented young guys. So, just been trying to be more vocal even during the off season. So, it's not like it's a huge change in terms of myself, been striving to be more of a vocal leader as it is. But, I definitely accept the challenge. They're a great group of guys, eager to learn, eager to grow. So I think it's going to be, it's obviously a challenge, Matt being one of my closer friends on the team and just, in life in general, it's hard. And I know he's still going to be there. He's still going to be vocal. He's still going to be around as much as he can, even as he recovers. So, I think it's going to run smoothly.
CJ, you moved from tackle to end on this week's depth chart. What's behind that?
Coach Fitz kind of mentioned it before. We were just looking to shake things up. Just wanted to get a different look from the defensive front. And, I think we accomplished that this week. We had a lot more people play. We took a lot of reps off of a lot of people. Me moving outside let the ends have a little more energy for pass rush and just be more ready to go for other things. And it's just definitely a balanced look. People ready to go.
Coach said that on Saturday, he thought a lot of you guys like passion. Did you sense that as well? How do you get that back, and how do you stay positive after an 0-2 start?
What? Can you repeat the question, my bad? The passion's there. Okay. I think we need people to be comfortable and just like letting it loose. And I feel that just comes with experience. We got some young guys on the field. We got some people that are in new roles. Comfortability is the thing. Like, passion is there. We all love to play the game. We're all here trying to do the same thing. So I don't question our passion. And as far as staying positive, again, like, we get to play football every day, and it's like a blessing in itself. And like, some people get caught up in the chaos of everything and like don't realize, like, it's not hard to stay positive in this situation. Like, we get another day to get better. We get another day to go out and practice, and we get another day to go out and compete for a win. So that's how you stay positive. You just got to look forward and not dwell on the past.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, like you said, we have some young guys even in the DB group. So, for them, there's a little more, I guess, nerves coming into games and just doing the things we're doing. So he had to sit back, as leaders, as veterans, just kind of remind them, we're playing football. You've been doing this all your life. It's what you came here to do. Sit back, relax, have fun. Go out there and just give it everything you have. So I think part of that is just as leaders and as veterans, just kind of putting everything in perspective for everybody. Making sure they understand that this is a game we all know how to play, and just go out there and give it everything you have.
For both of you, for each of the first 2 games this season, the defense has been on the field for longer than the offense, 39 minutes against Western Michigan, 34 against Illinois State. Is there something that you guys think that you're not doing or you could be doing better in order to get the offense more chance to get some yardage?
Obviously, the goal of the defense, stop the ball, create turnovers, and get the offense the ball as much as possible. So your question was, is there anything we could do better to give the offense more chances at the ball? Obviously, create turnovers. We're trying to we strive to create that culture of attacking the ball. If you want to talk about last year in the Duke game, I think we accomplished that. Godwin had a great rip and forced fumble and a fumble recovery last year. Dean had a tip for an interception. The D-line up front was able to affect the ball in tipping balls. The back half was able to break up passes and things like that. So just stopping the big play, creating turnovers, it's obviously a great way to help the offense. And honestly, it's just us trusting in the offense too. It's a game of both. It's a game, both sides is played and everything. So we as a defense believe in the offense, and whatever happens, we're backing each other up 100%.
I concur. I like that.
Any further questions?